Friends, I'm Cathy Madeo here today with a splits tutorial. It's probably the most requested thing that I get on Instagram aside from handstands. So I wanted to make this content for you. I'm going to show you my favorite poses and some stretching techniques. And while we stretch and hold poses, I'll be talking a lot about flexibility. So go ahead and take our first pose, which is lizard lunge. So you'll place one foot in front and move it over to the side edge of your mat. And what you want to focus on here is not just the front leg, while that is definitely opening in the hip and the inner thigh. We want to also focus on the back leg. So think of the back leg in your lizard lunge as your back leg and your split. And so the back leg here is stretching your hip flexors. So I'm intentionally holding you here. So I want you to stay here. And then you can start to work your way down onto your forearms. Now, you don't even have to do that. You could stay up, but we'll go ahead and come down. We're still holding. And that back leg is nice and extended behind your hips. And so as you hold this pose, you'll notice I'm kind of moving around just a little bit. That was a game changer for me in my flexibility. When we hold poses statically, meaning we don't move, we're not kind of getting all of the nuances of the various muscles that cross the hip joint. So I welcome and invite these kind of small movements. I'm rocking my pelvis a little bit side to side. I'm even letting my left knee go out a little bit side to side. That's my bent knee. I flipped my camera so that I could make sure everything was going okay. So I think that my body is opposite of what I'm actually saying, but you'll follow along. Okay, let's take one more breath here. And now we'll walk our hands up and heel toe your left foot over to the left and straighten your front leg. So this is runner's stretch. So if it's hard to straighten your front leg, I want you to grab 2 blocks or whatever you're using at home and be more upright here. And there's different ways to do this pose. Some people bring their hips back. I want your hips up so that they're right over your back knee. And flex your front foot so that you're stretching your calf muscle and the Achilles heel, even the sole of the foot a little bit. So I'm going to release my blocks here. The other thing is if you're here and your arms are bent, but you're on your fingertips, just go ahead and bring your palms down. Start working your palms down. Pull your left hip back and drag isometrically your left heel back. So isometrically means you might not see anything move. It's a kind of tension you're creating through the muscles. And then we can release the head, a full fold. Breathe in here. Good, and then we're just going to switch sides. So right foot forward, taking that lizard lunge. And you'll notice I don't go directly down into my forearms. I'm giving my body a chance to open. And this is the other thing I want to share with you about flexibility. You really want to ease into the poses because flexibility is more about your mind and your mind sending signals to the rest of your body that it's safe. So if we kind of like force right into the final look of this pose, which might be down here, we might actually be counterproductive, sending signals of stress to our body, and then the muscles tense up, and we want them to release and stretch. So you'll see I'm rocking my hips this way, a little bit this way, letting even my bent knee go out to the side. You'll notice my voice is calm, my breath is calm, no deep breathing here. It's all about the mind with flexibility. So I'm integrating many different flexibility methods here as we move. Some of them I'm pointing out and others I'm not. Go ahead and we'll walk up and we'll take that runner stretch. Remember, feel free to use your blocks, and I probably should have told you, I'll write it in the description, that if you have blocks, I want you to make sure you have them for this tutorial, because we'll be doing a Pnf stretching in a few moments. Good, so we'll go ahead and fold. I am being a little active here. I'm really dragging my right heel back, pulling my right hip back. You can even inhale, half lift, exhale, fold. Good, and then we'll bend, we'll step forward and take forward fold. So, splits are not just about the hamstrings. We're stretching the whole kind of back line of our legs for that front leg and the front of the leg for the back leg. So we've really got to do kind of a lot of work if we want to go deep. So the more you can compress the front line here, the more the back line will stretch. Okay, from here, inhale, half lift, step your left foot back, and we're taking pyramid pose. Again, you can use your blocks here. So, still stretching kind of this front leg here. And just pulling this hip back a little deeper. Good, and then we'll walk the hands to the inside, let the hips go a little bit out to the side. So again, not being static in our poses for this kind of posture. Splits is a complex pose. It's kind of all of the muscles that cross the hip joint are involved. We'll step forward and we'll just switch sides. Good, I'm regretting not putting my hair up. That's okay. Just folding here. So this is hip traction. So another little technique, I'm taking my thumb into my hip crease. I'm giving myself an adjustment, pressing my hip back as I fold deeper. All of these little things, you know, one of the things I say about flexibility is try a lot of different techniques. They're all useful, nothing's better. They're all approaching flexibility in a different way. So why not learn them all and kind of take what works for you? Good. All right, so we'll come onto our seat now. We're going to take a wide leg forward fold. So getting into the glutes here and the hamstrings and even the inner thighs, even though the legs are straight. So I'm going to flex here for a moment, and then I'm going to go ahead and point. So pointing and flexing is really style over substance. Of course, if you flex the feet, you're stretching the undersides of the legs a little bit more. So it's not a bad idea to flex the feet, but we also have that pointed option, looks really nice and stretches the tops of the legs, so both useful. I'm going to go ahead and make my way all the way down. And breathe. So again, real calm here. So it's not that I'm not feeling anything, I'm feeling a lot right now, a lot of sensation in my inner thighs, and even, I guess, my quads, glutes, but I'm remaining calm. I think sometimes we have a tendency to think discomfort is pain, and it's not. We'll go ahead and make our way up. Okay, so next we're going to attack the hip flexors a little bit. So the hip flexors will help you with your back leg. So I'll have you come onto your belly, so you'll be prone. And come into Sphinx pose here, so you're on your forearms. So you'll take your left forearm and move it diagonally, bend your back leg, and I'm pointing the foot using some active flexibility here. I'll reach around, grab the top of the foot, and then see if you can transition your fingertips to point down. So this is half frog pose. Ekapadabhikasana in Sanskrit here, and really stretching the front line of the psoas, the hip flexors here. You're trying to get your heel as close to your outer right hip as you can while keeping the shoulders squared to the front. Good, and we'll release and switch. So I'm not doing every single warm-up pose we could do for splits, but just trying to make sure I'm hitting kind of essential areas that we want to stretch. So there's other poses that you could do that stretch the hip flexors, like King Arthur, which is in a lunge, taking the back foot like this in a lunge. This is one of my favorites, though. All right, release. So now we'll get into our Pnf stretching technique. If you don't have blocks at home, maybe just bookmark this idea, but you can still practice along with us. So I've actually got 3 blocks here. You could make this work with just 2. We'll start with the left leg since that's how we started before. I'm going to take 1 block right underneath. That one's too soft, right underneath my straight leg. And then the other 2 blocks can be here to stabilize, so you don't really need 3, but if you wanted that stabilization. And Pnf is a stretching technique that tricks one of the glands into helping things stretch more in your body. So what we're going to do is you're going to actively press down into the block at about 30% of intensity, and we'll hold that for 8 seconds. So I'm going down, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to release, not quite come into splits, but just release and see where my body naturally goes. And then I'll go a little lower with the block if my body goes there. So pressing down, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So watch this, kind of crazy to see it happen. And then I go down, right? And my thigh is already on the ground, but I'm still going to do the Pnf technique again one more time. I'm going to push in the ground. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'm going to just release. So release that effort. And breathe. So that's a nice technique. Again, you might not make it all the way down today, right? But I'm sure if you do it, you're going to see some progress. So we'll go a little deeper in our splits if you're okay going deeper. So I always like, we're all different levels. Maybe some of you already have your splits. So the next kind of stage I would go in your splits is moving around a little bit. So I'm, again, rocking my pelvis a little bit side to side, and that's getting the back leg hip flexors a little bit deeper. And I'm holding here. Now I could go all the way down. And I hold, and so I'm very relaxed here. And this has been, like I said, such a big change for me in my splits. Like I used to hold on for dear life, right? And now I can actually hold and be relaxed. So if we fold forward, we get more of the front leg. So you can do all kinds of things here. The more upright we get, so if you can go more even shoulders back than I'm demoing here. I have a spinal injury, so I don't have a whole lot of extension in my spine. But the more back you go with your shoulders, the more you're in a back bend. So anytime the back leg is extended behind you from the hip joint, you're actually in a back bend. So you could consider splits a back bend here if you're upright. And now I'm going to go deeper into that back leg by grabbing the foot here, and I can take a thigh stretch here. So I'm getting really deep into those hip flexors. And then here too. Yeah, and of course that's once you've got your splits, you're feeling that the pelvis is down. Good, and then we'll release. And we can switch sides. So let's set up for our Pnf on the right side. Now this is my not as open side. So just naturally you can see this is about where I go down before Pnf. So we'll see what happens here. And please practice along with me if you can. So press your thigh bone down into the block. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll release. Almost down already. I'm going to actually back out a little bit because I want some of that Pnf goodness here. So I'm going to press down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go 3 rounds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then I'm going to breathe here and start to move around a little bit. And so if you're not quite down on the floor yet, maybe those movements look like this. I really like to go to the inside. That has definitely deepened my splits, the back leg, really getting all the way behind. You know, there's different hamstrings, so we want to get into all of them. Again, keeping my mind calm, my breath calm. And just a reminder, I'm not a naturally flexible person, so it took me a long time to even accept when people would say, wow, you're so flexible. I'd be like, no, I'm not. Now I'm starting to accept that, but it comes with daily practice. So you can, I say all that to say, you can do your splits too, you just have to practice. So we can fold forward. Good, now this back leg's a little trickier for me because I'm not as open on this side. So you can see I have to kind of come up and make my way down. All right, so if we wanted to go even more intense, and some of you are going to stop right there, but our next level would be what we call an oversplit. I know dancers and gymnastics, we all have different approaches. Yoga, I feel like the approach is a little bit more gentler, a little bit more healing, and so in general, I wouldn't suggest doing oversplits until, you're feeling pretty good in your splits. But having the heels underneath your legs in wide leg or splits and the pelvis down, you're essentially working an oversplit. And what that will help you with is poses like standing split and poses that require more active flexibility. In standing split, we don't have anything touching that lifted leg, which is one of the reasons that makes it so hard. So starting to work in this way perhaps can increase your flexibility. So I know that there's some judgments in the yoga world about working over splits. I feel as though as long as you're working in a nice progression, you're not skipping a lot of steps, going straight to those over splits, there's no harm as long as your body's telling you all is good. So we could go down a little lower. You can come on up and we'll try that with our splits. So we'll place the heel on the block and just make sure that there's enough space for your Achilles heel. And I'm doing the same kind of techniques. I'm rocking side to side. You can see my pelvis isn't down yet. So my body needs a little bit more time here to get into this oversplit. And then I'll start allowing my pelvis to come down. And again, I'm just kind of playing with different positions here. I'm not doing a long static hold. Good. And then we'll do the other side. And of course, if that's feeling easy for you, then your next level would be 2 blocks. We'll stay with 1 today. Take your time. And you can see my tighter side needs a little bit more attention, a little bit more time. The most important thing with flexibility, I guess as with anything, is consistency. So whether you're doing, 15 minutes every day or longer practices a few times a week, you're just making it consistent. Because it's like a rubber band. Yeah, it'll just kind of go back to its starting point if you don't continue to stretch it out and give it some attention. All right, my friends. I hope that was a good practice for you and you've taken away some good tips. Let me know in the comments. Namaste.